What does it mean to live a happy life? In our world today, rushed, overstimulated, and driven by constant competition, the question might seem unanswerable. Yet over 2,000 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Epicurus offered a surprisingly simple, yet powerful solution. Epicurus believed happiness doesn't come from wealth, fame, or power. It comes from simplicity, from inner peace, from friendship, self-reflection, and freedom from fear. Let's explore how his timeless wisdom can guide us in today's world, where we often search for more, only to feel less satisfied. Epicurus was born in 341 BCE on the island of Samos. He lived during a time of political unrest, war, and shifting philosophical trends. Unlike Plato or Aristotle, who built grand theories about politics or metaphysics, Epicurus focused on one central question: what makes life truly good? He answered it with a single word: pleasure, but not the kind you might think. To Epicurus, pleasure wasn't about indulgence or excess. It wasn't about fine dining, endless vacations, or material luxury. Instead, he spoke of a deeper kind of pleasure, a tranquil mind and absence of pain. In Greek, this was called ataraxia, a state of serene calmness, and aponia, the freedom from bodily pain. For Epicurus, a good life was not a busy life. It was not one spent in boardrooms or political campaigns. It was a quiet life, lived in a garden with friends, discussing ideas, appreciating nature, and being content with just enough. His community, known as the Garden, welcomed women, slaves, and people from all walks of life, radical inclusivity for its time. Together, they lived simply, focused on personal growth and mutual support. Let's take a moment to imagine that. A world where the measure of success isn't the size of your house or your number of followers, but your ability to enjoy a conversation, appreciate a sunset, or sit in silence without anxiety. Epicurus identified three basic kinds of desires: natural and necessary desires, such as food, shelter, and companionship; natural but unnecessary desires, like luxury food or extravagant clothing; vain and empty desires, wealth, power, fame, or social approval. He taught that the first kind, natural and necessary, should be fulfilled. The second can be enjoyed, but with caution, and the third should be avoided entirely. Why? Because vain desires never truly satisfy. The pursuit of wealth can lead to more worry. Fame brings scrutiny. Power invites fear and conflict. Epicurus warned that by chasing these, we enslave ourselves to endless dissatisfaction. He wasn't against pleasure, but he wanted us to redefine it. True pleasure, he said, is found when you no longer feel the need to chase something else. In our modern world, this philosophy is almost revolutionary. We are constantly told to want more. Advertisements, social media, and pop culture all convince us that happiness lies in the next purchase, the next achievement, the next relationship. But Epicurus reminds us enough is a feast. So how can we apply his teachings today? First, we must learn to distinguish between needs and wants. Ask yourself, what do I truly need to feel calm and fulfilled? Is it the latest phone? Or is it a moment of quiet with someone you trust? Is it career prestige, or the freedom to spend time on what matters most? Second, nurture deep friendships. Epicurus placed friendship above all possessions. He believed friends bring security, joy, and meaning. In fact, he wrote off all the means to ensure happiness throughout the whole life. By far the most important is the acquisition of friends. In today's age of virtual likes and digital followers, this wisdom rings truer than ever. Cultivating just a few genuine relationships is more valuable than being known by thousands who don't truly know you. Third, embrace simplicity. This doesn't mean rejecting all comforts, but rather simplifying our expectations. Learning to find joy in modest meals, a walk in nature, or quiet reflection is a powerful antidote to the anxiety of modern life. Fourth, manage your fears. Epicurus taught that much of human misery comes from fear: fear of the gods, fear of death, fear of the future. But he argued these fears are often irrational. He believed the gods, if they exist, are not concerned with human affairs. And death, he said, is nothing to be feared, because when we are alive, death is not present, and when death is present, we are no longer alive. This line of thinking may sound simple, even naive, but its effect can be liberating. If we accept that we are not punished after death, and that we only have this one life to live, we begin to value our time more. We start to prioritize peace over prestige, love over legacy, presence over performance. Now consider your own life. When was the last time you paused, not to scroll or to escape, but to truly breathe and reflect? When was the last time you sat with a friend without agenda or distraction and simply listened? Have you ever asked yourself, what is enough for me? And more importantly, why do I keep chasing more? Epicurus doesn't tell us to abandon the world, but to understand it better. He doesn't reject desire, but teaches us to manage it wisely. He doesn't forbid success, but asks that we never let it cost us our peace. His philosophy is gentle, unassuming, but powerful. It reminds us that we don't need to change the world to be happy. We only need to change our relationship with it. To live well, according to Epicurus, is to live lightly, with clear values, meaningful connections, and the quiet joy of knowing that what we already have is enough. So next time you feel overwhelmed by deadlines, social pressures, or the endless chase for more, remember the garden. Not as a place, but as a mindset. Step back, breathe, think about what matters. Epicurus may have lived centuries ago, but his voice is still relevant. In a time of noise, he invites us to quiet. In a time of excess, he teaches contentment. In a time of fear, he offers calm. Happiness, he would say, is already within reach. You just need to stop reaching so far.